and is going to eat a, again, massive Psychic Fangs and miss that Stone Edge. That is absolutely tragic. Is now... Hello friends, my name is literally Frankie, and welcome back to the penultimate episode of Gotta Drag 'Em All, my critically acclaimed crossover series that has the bottom queens of an episode duke it out in a 6v6 Pokemon battle to see who sachets and who shantays. Last time on Gotta Drag 'Em All, Violet barely edged out Miss Fame to win her battle. Sadly, this means that Miss Fame goes home after being in the bottom just one time. At this point, we're down to our final 5 queens, but one more queen is going to have to sashay away so that our final Elite 4 can duke it out in a Poke Battle, Pokeperuza Battle Royale smackdown for the crown. The grand finale will also feature a special guest, so make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out. Episode 10, Prancing Queen, is a pairs dancing challenge. But it's going to be a little funky for us because we didn't actually bring anyone back into the competition, so we have an odd number of queens left. That being said, we can still keep the pairs of Ginger and Trixie and Katya and Violet the same. We also know that Jaden is a fierce dancer and performer, so even though she's on her own in our series, I'm still going to call her safe. And if Katya and Violet are still the winning team, that means our bottom queens of the episode are Trixie Mattel and Ginger Minj. Now, Trixie was in the bottom way back in episode 4 when she eked out a win in a close battle against Pearl. As a quick reminder, Trixie's team features physically offensive monsters like Bruxish and Flygon, powerful special attackers in Sylveon and Rabombi, with Gastrodon and Diancie as more of a supportive pair. If you want to hear more about how I chose these Pokemon for Trixie's team, make sure you go check out episode 4. Meanwhile, this will actually be Ginger's first time in the bottom this season, so you already know that we're going to start by taking a look at her runways. Starting off, we have her entrance look, Spring Runway, Fall Runway, Nude Illusion, Jet Set Eleganza, Bearded and Beautiful, Green Runway, then we have her Despy dress, Death Becomes Her, Leather and Lace, Conjoined Twins, Ugliest Dress, Hello Kitty Couture, and Best Drag look with her finale look in the center. Now that we've seen her looks, we can take a look at her team, which starts with Toxapex, who is based on Ginger's Jet Set Eleganza pastel blue dress. Toxapex is a really powerful defensive wall with super high defense and special defense stats. A Rocky Helmet means Ginger will want to ensure she's switching Toxapex in on incoming contact attacks whenever possible, and Regenerator will mean that each time Toxapex switches out, it'll regain health, making it really, truly a nightmare to deal with. Next, we have Beware, who I chose based on Ginger's Death Becomes Her runway. Beware is a somewhat bulkier physical attacker with great HP and attack stats. Its ability is Fluffy, which means it'll take half damage from moves that make contact, but will also take double damage from fire-type attacks. Holding a Life Orb will help boost its already powerful moves like Drain Punch and Double Edge. Next, we have Xatu, who I chose because Ginger's pose in this ugliest dress photo it's giving bird, it's giving wings, and both have a, similar shade of green. Xatu is a speedy special attacker who will also play somewhat of a support role on Ginger's team. Its ability Magic Bounce means it's protected from moves like Toxic and will actually bounce them back at the attacker. Leftovers will help with longevity, and the move Rain Dance will also come in handy to power up the water-type attackers on Ginger's team. Next, we have Beartic, who I chose based on the all-white beaded look of Ginger's best drag look. Beartic is primarily just a physical offensive beast. Its other stats are pretty middling overall, but it has the ability Swift Swim, which doubles its speed stat whenever Rain Dance is active. Combined with the Choice Band, Beartic's great coverage moves like Icicle Crash, Stone Edge, and Superpower will be hitting like a truck, driven by a bear. Next, I chose Lantern, based on Ginger's blue finale look, with Ginger's hair loaf representing Lantern's antenna. Lantern has a good HP stat, but the rest of its stats are also pretty middle of the pack. It'll definitely lean in on its ability Volt Absorb, which makes it immune to electric type attacks, and its item Assault Vest to give it a little bit more staying power to get off a Stab, Scald, or Volt Switch. Lastly, we have Seismitoad, because Ginger is the self-proclaimed Glamour Toad, and can you get any more glamorous than Seismitoad? I really don't think so. Seismitoad is, again, pretty bulky with a decent HP stat. Like Beartic, Seismitoad has the ability Swift Swim to double its speed in the rain. A Citrus Berry will also help to give it a little bit more survivability. Overall, Ginger's team will be relying on Beware and Beartic to do some big physical damage. Toxapex and Seismitoad are both more defensively oriented, while Xatu and Lantern will be able to dish out special attacks. Alright, our trainers are both raring to go, so let's see who has what it takes to make it to our grand finale. Rue, over to you.
Trixie and Ginger, I'm sorry, my dears, but you are up for elimination. 2 queens, stand before me. Ladies, this is your last chance to impress me and save yourself from elimination. The time has come
Pokemon battle.
for your life. Good luck, and don't get up.
Ginger leads with Xatu, while Trixie goes with Diancie. This is a poor matchup for Ginger, so she switches Seismitoad in, who will weather that Diamond Storm brilliantly. Trixie is now going to swap Gastrodon in, and that Scald is actually going to trigger Gastrodon's Storm Drain ability and grant it a special attack boost. Seismitoad goes for Protect on that Toxic, and Trixie's going to go for another Toxic, but it's going to miss on the Toxapex. And Earth Power is going to do some massive damage to Toxapex. Meanwhile, Ginger decides to go for Entry Hazards, getting a layer of Toxic Spikes up. Xatu immunes that Earth Power and goes for a Giga Drain. Meanwhile, Gastrodon goes for a massive Ice Beam, just barely missing out on the KO. Xatu's going to outspeed here and take out Gastrodon with that 4 times effective Giga Drain. Trixie brings in Diancie, who's going to get poisoned from those Toxic Spikes, and Ginger brings in Seismitoad as Trixie decides to set up her own Entry Hazards. She swaps in Flygon though, who's going to be immune to that Earth Power, and go for an Earthquake, which does 50% to that Seismitoad, triggering that Citrus Berry. Scald comes in and hoping for a burn, but doesn't get it, and Trixie's going to go for another Earthquake. Another Scald comes in, and still no burn onto Flygon, so Ginger is actually going to swap into Xatu to immune that Earthquake. Trixie wants to save Flygon, so she's going to bring in Diancie, who eats a Giga Drain. Meanwhile, Diancie's going to take a little bit more damage from that poison. It's going to eat another Giga Drain, bringing it down to where Toxic Spikes will bring it down on the next turn, but Xatu's going to go down in 1 hit to that Diamond Storm critical hit. Ginger brings in Toxapex, and Trixie brings in Flygon. Now, Ginger wants to see what Trixie's going for, so that Baneful Bunker is going to come out, and she's actually going to bring Seismitoad in and sacrifice it so that she can get a clean switch in to Beware. Trixie swaps in Rabombi, who's going to get poisoned and go down in 1 hit to that Double Edge from Beware. Things are looking dire for Trixie now. She brings in Bruxish, who gets poisoned. Meanwhile, Ginger brings in Lantern, probably expecting a Water-type attack, but that Psychic Fangs does massive damage, and Lantern's actually going to go down in 2 hits to that Psychic Fangs. Beartic comes in here and is going to eat again, massive Psychic Fangs and miss that Stone Edge. That is absolutely tragic, as now Bruxish is going to go and get another Psychic Fangs off and take down Beartic. This is not looking good for Ginger. Toxapex survives on 1% and is able to take out Bruxish finally with that Gunk Shot. Trixie brings in Sylveon, who gets poisoned, is going to take a little bit of damage as Toxapex uses that Baneful Bunker, but it's going to go down to that Hyper Voice. Ginger's last Pokemon is Beware, and it's going to get a Double Edge off and actually get the critical hit to take Sylveon out. Trixie's last Pokemon is Flygon, and it's gonna outspeed, and Beware is gonna go down to that earthquake, and Trixie will win the battle.
Trixie Mattel, Shantae, you stay. Ginger Minj, sashay away.
Y'all, let's just take a moment of silence for Ginger. I think she potentially could have beat Trixie here if she had landed that Stone Edge, but that's really, unfortunately, the nature of Pokemon battling, though, where you have to go for these really powerful but inaccurate moves sometimes, and unfortunately for Ginger, missing that Stone Edge allowed Bruxish to continue its reign of terror on her team. For me, the MVP was definitely Bruxish, who was able to, get the KO on Lantern, get the KO on Beartic, and bring Toxapex down to 1% before it finally went down, which was totally enough to propel Trixie to the win in the late game there. But with that, we have our final Elite Four Queens: Katya, Trixie, Violet, and Jaden. Our next episode is our grand finale, which means our final Elite Four Queens will duke it out in a Pokeparusa Battle Royale smackdown for the crown to see who becomes our next Pokedrag superstar. I'll see you here in 2 weeks. Bye!